We come down to the beach today. We've done it before by train, but today we got the A1 bus right from the port, and it costs less than €5 for two of us for a return trip. And now we're here, we can hire a variety of vehicles to take us around.
Athens can be a beach holiday, as well as the Acropolis and the Roman ruins. We'll show you them all and how to get there.
If you turn left at the Marina Park where we got off and just stroll along, the beaches get better and better the further you go. It's a very pleasant walk.
As a cruiser, you'll get to Athens over and over again. And each time you do, you'll find something new.
If you come to Piraeus and you stop at Terminals 1 and 2, they'll be down there at the bottom of the hill. If you want to go to the beach, you just walk up the hill, come to the bus stop here, and you get the A1 bus, and it'll take you on a circuit around all the beach stops. If you come to Terminal 3, then the bus will stop right outside. It couldn't be simpler. And when you get on the bus, you just tap your Visa card on the ticket machine. As you come out of the port, you see a line of expensive yellow taxis. The public X80 bus is straight on this way. The far cruise ports have public buses. But there's our ship, and this is the car park. And there are a number of different options. The X80 bus is here. And this is where you get the hop-on, hop-off bus and an electric road train. Or my favourite way is to cross the road and get a bus to the metro.
Just as you can get a metro all the way along the beach. Athens is easy.
As we walked away from the main taxi rank, we got offered a taxi for €10 to the Acropolis, which is really cheap. But keep walking down the road, and so here we are at Piraeus station, and from here you can go straight to Athens. You press the country.
Please select function.
Buy travel
Select
product.
travel product.
Press the area. You press the number of trips. The cheapest way to see Athens would be the metro in Syntagmar station. Get the little red Athens Happy Train for around €5. Walk around and end up at Plaka Square, where you could take the metro home from Monastiraki station. Whole day, €10. So, let's start by seeing what is at Plaka Square. You can eat, drink, or people watch, which is best done from a rooftop advantage. At Monastiraki, you will find the Athens flea market. Just by the station, there are some gardens with some ruins. This is the Temple of Hephaestus. It will cost you €10 to enter. The Persians completely destroyed the Agora in 480 BC, and rebuilding took place over the next 500 years, and the ruins are what is left of that rebuilding. So this is wonderfully near Monastiraki station, which is just behind the museum you can see in front of us. The flea market is to the left. Plaka Square is behind the museum. Views of the Acropolis are on the hill. This was Simon's house, but it needs a bit of work now. There's a fantastic view of the Acropolis, and you can sit on a shady bench and just take it all in. The church was built in the 11th century and restored repeatedly through the centuries. It was restored to its original form in 1953. This statue is probably of Aphrodite, and you can find all these statues in the Stoa of Attalos, which was rebuilt in the 1950s by the American Institute of Classical Studies. So these are statues of the personification of the Iliad and the Odyssey. We're having an explore. The steps are quite steep up to the top. The museum is full of ancient artifacts, and there are models of how it would have been. There is no shortage of statues. Such a shame. All these heads with no body to dance with. The museum has been known to close in the afternoon. Hadrian's library also closes at 3 o'clock, so morning visit.
The idea of a morning visit and a siesta also fits in with the great idea of doing Athens in the morning and the beach in the afternoon.
We're heading back to Syntagmar Sq. The square is opposite, Parliament is behind you, and everything is signposted. Outside the Parliament buildings, we're so lucky to see the changing of the guard, and they must be so hot. They've got thick white tights on. In Syntagmar Sq, you can also get the Athens Happy Train. They start at Parliament Constitution Square, Syntagmar Square, then go to Evzones, there's National Garden, Benaki Museum, Cycladic Museum, Byzantine Museum, War Museum, Panathenaic Stadium, Zappalon Hall, Temple of Zeus and the Hadrian Arch. We'll take you there in a moment on a horse and carriage ride. Lantern of Diogenes in Plaka and then back to Plaka. We're going to walk there and get a horse and carriage back. There's a lot of steps. Slippery. So many people have walked these steps. If you've not booked a ticket online or in advance, this is the queue. Opposite the Acropolis are some high rocks where you can climb up to a vantage point. Acropolis means high city, and you can see why. So this is the top of Areopagus Hill. It's very slippy to climb, and there's no easy access. If you want to take a picture of the Acropolis, the best place to take it is from the top of this hill, because when you're up there, it'll be very hard to get the whole thing in the frame. So we're on our way to the Temple of Zeus, and we've decided to go in the horse and carriage. Band's arrived.
Acropolis e Templo Partenone.
Is that the Temple of Herodotus Atticus?
Oddio, anfiteatro.
A rodeo. One of the most important museums in the world, the Acropolis Museum. Big queues over there. It has a 30-centimetre bronze statue of Athena, which dates back to 475 BC. Might not be quite the same, but you can buy one on Amazon.
This Templo Lysicrates. Cittadino Orthodox Christian, Santa Caterina.
Right, okay. At the bottom of Plaka city, at the end of our horse and cart tour, is Hadrian's Arch, the very famous landmark in Athens. We're at the stadium of the first modern Olympic Games. The marble in there is beautiful. Originally, the runners, all men, used to run naked, and only men were allowed in. And sometimes their mothers used to try and sneak in, but if they were caught, they were arrested, and they made everyone come in topless so that they could tell the difference between the men and the women to keep the women out. Ancient Greek Olympian man performing naked. From this square you can get a train back to Piraeus. We bought a 24-hour ticket for €4.50 for the Athens area. We've come one stop, and now we're going to try and find the tram to take us along the sea route. The train station meets the tram station just beside the football stadium for Olympiakos. This is not our one. We want one that says Vula on the front. So there's the port, Piraeus. There is the football stadium. You go one stop to the football stadium and then get on the tram, and you go all along the coastline, and it's like having your own hop-on, hop-off bus. You can hop off at any beach that takes your fancy. We hopped off the tram, we found a lovely beach, it's called Eden Beach, and it's got a cafe and internet. And now we're going to pop back on the tram and do a bit more exploring. So we got off at Kalamaki and we're in this beautiful bay and we're going to have a coffee in the Stolidi Cafe on the way home. We've arrived at Troy. It's about 5 minutes away from the museum in the coach. The important positioning of the land of Troy meant that it was occupied for over 3,000 years. So there was Troy 1, Troy 2, right up to Troy 9, and they're all standing on top of each other. No one knows what they were actually called, but archaeologists have labelled them that. God, I bet it's killing heat here in, real hot summer. I'm sure the lighthouse hasn't changed one bit, and so we're going to walk you through town. La Coruna is a great place to make new friends. Shakespeare, there's Bernard Shaw, there's Molière. The statue is Maria Pita. When the British invaded in the 1500s, they got this far and they killed her husband. So she gathered a group of soldiers and she pushed the British back. If you turn left from the port, you'll find this little park. It's nice to stroll through. There's lots of statues and waterfalls. If you turn right, you'll walk all the way to the lighthouse.
You can turn left or right. We have films from Iceland to Rio, from South Africa into the Mediterranean, from the fjords to the Baltic. Everywhere we visit, we film. So please subscribe and share with your friends. And do try Cruise Ship Heist. Jump on the book bandwagon.